Hey TV fans, Board now back with you. On this video I'm going to be reviewing Wednesday episode 2. The episode is called Woe is the Loneliest Number. Full spoilers again from the start of this review. Surprisingly positive on it. It wasn't perfect, there were things that bugged me about it, but overall, as first episodes go, I thought it was pretty solid and better than I was expecting. But this episode kind of wrecks all that, really. It's a pretty terrible episode. The writers of this series wrote Smallville, and obviously Smallville is a very different kind of story. The tone of Smallville is a very different tone than you would hope for from like a Wednesday Addams series. Stuff really stands out in this episode. It does feel very sort of heavy on the tween. It feels very kind of overly quirky and a little bit cheesy at times, but it just feels that it tips the balance too much into like an overly quirky, just very in your face, like teen style drama that just happens to feature the Wednesday Addams character. General Tager is still great. I'm still enjoying her as Wednesday. And you've obviously now got this mystery because of what happened to Ronan at the end of the episode, at the end of the first episode. And that stuff, although I'm not going to say it's amazing, that stuff is a little bit better. Like when they focus on the mystery and Wednesday investigating the mystery of what happened, that stuff is stronger. Don't care about a lot of these other characters. I don't find them interesting to watch. When this character of Xavier, it's revealed that he has a crush on Wednesday, and that's revealed by him drawing a picture of her, like arty sort of picture where it's like brings out her beauty. OTT way of showing like a crush and friction with him and with Bianca, who's like the head bully. Wednesday is like following along with is like following like Xavier at one point. I'm told by the head mistress she had to pick a club by the end of the day. So you then get these moments where she's like looking for like different clubs, she's trying different things out, and she settles on like a beach archery with Xavier. Ends up like Tyler, who's like the guy who works in the cafe who helped her out in the last episode. It's all over him and just says like he's just jealous of us because like we prop up the town, and so you could see a bit of a love triangle developing there. Wednesday and follow him, and they're in his room like under his bed, and Bianca like comes in and they start having this chat where Bianca mentions something in the past, like this one incident, which is the reason Xavier hates her now, or has shown her broke up with her, and you just know that they're gonna return to that one incident and make it a reveal. And unfortunately, the way these things tend to go, it's unlikely to be anything that interesting like Wednesday so much, because she's seen the drawing he's done of her and he starts defending her. But this is when Bianca says, tomorrow I'm gonna embarrass her. Wednesday has the idea to join an Ingrid's club, Ingrid's Poe club, and it involves the boat race involving these three different teams. Ingrid is obviously delighted because she's been trying to encourage Wednesday throughout the episode, and I think Ingrid actually is one of the better characters from the other characters. I quite like her, I quite like that actress, and I do sort of like how they're begrudgingly working together. That's the side of it that then isn't actually too bad. Each team has a theme, and theirs is cat, so she gives her a cat suit, and Wednesday is obviously all embarrassed, and stuff like this works well because part of the point of the Wednesday character is then like part of the comedy from like the movies was her being embarrassed to like do regular things, or to, like, just the more like cheesy side of like human nature being thrust upon her is something like she just considers to be hell. So that stuff is fine, but once you get into the boat race itself, it's just this really silly, like, quirky style boat race where they're trying to like sabotage each other's boats. The creature swimming underneath the boat charges a boat thing to the rescue, stops like the saboteur from destroying the boat, and like ultimately they win because they beat them at their own game. Like they put spikes into the other boat and they end up winning, and once again you get this big celebration. And Wednesday, the idea isn't she's embarrassed by it, but maybe on some level she is sort of enjoying taking part in more normal things. But this stuff kind of sucks. The only thing that's good about it is that I do quite like the chemistry with Wednesday and Ingrid, and I quite like them as a combination. So Wednesday reluctantly taking part in Ingrid's like activity boat race was like just really silly. Drama with Tyler as well, and that's very soapy because we find out that the sheriff is like his father, and that Tyler himself has like a therapist, and the father's, who's a douche in this episode. Basically he starts questioning him about what he's been talking to the therapist about, how it's about his mother, and didn't really give a shit about. And then there's a love triangle. You can see it coming a mile off with Tyler, Xavier and Wednesday, the two guys being such bland characters. The sheriff is like questioning Wednesday at the start. She makes up a story that she heard a sound coming from the woods and that's why she was there, but because they can't find Roland's body, like, he starts turning suspicion on like the school. Mistress like interjects and starts saying, well, that's a very leading question and a big accusation without any evidence. And because she's acting very aggressively, it seemed like there's some sort of cover-up, which obviously Wednesday cottons onto. Wednesday agrees to talk to the sheriff in private. She tells him, like, tread lightly, otherwise I'll be talking to the man. So it obviously implies she's got like connections around the town. The twist is that Roland appears to still be alive because he shows up back at school. Ad line, which doesn't really sound like a Wednesday Addams line, is that she's questioned by the sheriff, he makes a comment about her father being like a murderer or in the past, and she makes this joke about the only thing he murders is opera when he's singing in the shower, and that's a bad joke, and it doesn't really sound like a Wednesday sort of line. A much better line and gagging, her mind must be playing tricks on her about Roland. Not as fun as I imagined it to be. Now that is a classic Wednesday Addams line. That is right on the money. That Marion is driving Rowan back to the train station. Thing jumps in the car with them and loses them, or loses Rowan. And the reason he loses Rowan is because coming out the bathroom, but it's revealed then it's the headmistress because it transforms into her. So obviously, okay, she's the shapeshifter. It's the shapeshifter, so it's not really Roland, so he did die. So it sort of seems like the motivation here is just because she doesn't want the truth coming out about what happened. She liked, because it's a decent reveal, which I didn't see coming, and it fits what's happening with this headmistress without feeling like overly cheesy. It's a nice simple explanation for what happened. So in shows like this, I don't think you want things too convoluted, but it's one of those things where it's nice and simple, but at the same time it's a smart little reveal as well. So definitely one of the better things in the episode. Wednesday has a vision at some point. She has a flash of Roland in the past and like something connected to this book. Marion like sees her and asks what she's looking for, and she mentions like the cover of the book. Boy's like connected to like this old coat like some sort of fraternity now defunct, but that's where it comes from. I can't seem to find the book. Good cameo for Christina Ricci, because she starts opening up to her saying she's one of these people who just feels like an outcast everywhere, and the reason is because she's neither like nerdy or like weird enough for like the weird crowd, but on the other hand she's not normal enough for like normal people. So she explains that, then that's the reason she's such an outcast, and that's quite an interesting like detail, because obviously it's almost like she's in the middle of like the dynamic between Wednesday being one extreme and that the people like Ingrid and other people at the college being the other extreme, and you get this in-between character, which is maybe the ideal, but in the middle isn't always the best thing, because a lot of times people levitate more to a certain style, one thing or the other, so you actually suffer socially sometimes if you are in the middle, because it's seen as like not being as interesting. Wednesday eventually finding this book because she figures out this code later in the episode with this series of numbers, and it's the code that she needs to unlock this room, this secret room where the book is being held in. So she gets into the room, she gets the book, but then she's nabbed by someone, and that's the end of the episode, and they put a hood over her head, and the final line is luckily I'm not afraid of the dark. But that's the hook for the next episode. So when it focuses on the mystery stuff, it's actually decent, and once again General Ortega is good. The other characters, bar maybe Ingrid and Marion, teen characters, most of them I just find really boring. A lot of quirky different things that's just being quirky for the sake of being quirky, and there's not a lot of focus to the plot, but that obviously could change. We'll see how it goes, but that's my review of episode 2 of Wednesday. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always, and share me out on social media, and I'll see you guys again soon.